Well, that took a little longer than I expected, but I've got them all filled out. I just, for the empty car return to, I just went on Google and I looked up whatever the headquarters of the railroad was and put it there. And I guess at some point I might fill in an actual yard or something where it's supposed to go. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, every one of those places is off layout. It's either north, south, or west. I'm on the East Coast, so there's really only 3 directions. So they will take a train out of town. All right, took almost as long to fold and tape the end to these things so that you have the little pocket here. It took almost as long to do that as it did to write all the information out. But it's all done. Everything that's on the layout or in staging or storage is here. I have a few more pieces of rolling stock kit and that kind of thing that I haven't built yet. So or a couple of cars sort of back over there that need some work. That's everything I have on the layout, and as I add things, I'll just make new ones as I need them. So the next thing I turn my attention to is where to mount these boxes. I've already figured out where to put 3 and 5 bin boxes, which were the 2 options. So some thunder there. I know that the 2 need to go here. I've got some screws there. As I pan around, I know I'm going to put a 5 bin box there, 2 5 sort of in that area where the yard master will probably sit. One over there for the engine service facility, rip track, and water treatment plant that's in that back track. And then the deep water terminal, pier, and granary will take a pair of 3 bill boxes. Trying to decide exactly where I want to put these and how I want to mount them. And there's a couple of places where the benchwork is a little bit different. So over there, it's those angle brackets with a door on it. I don't know if you can see that. And then the backdrop mounted behind the door. In fact, that one over there is an 18-inch bifold door. So the backdrop is one panel and the bottom is another with foam glued to it. But that corner module, as well as the benchwork that I set what used to be a shelf layout onto, has some bare wood showing on the front. So I'm thinking before I go any further, I'm going to paint that wood brown to match the rest of the front edge of the layout and just sort of blend it in. So it won't be as pretty as some of the guys with fascia mounted, but I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'll come back after that's dry. Okay, I think that looks a little better there. And that wood in the front there. And then kind of over behind me, pan slowly. I got the end of all those boards too that are coming towards us that hold the little cantilevered section of the yard. So got those painted too. Okay, progress is happening. I've mounted all the bill boxes that go into the layout, and there's Manchester. So there's 5 tracks, and then the one working track. There are no industries over here. That box will be for the industries along the, that's the northern end of the yard. So northern end industries, local industries in the yard. And this little command center type area right here will be for the yard master. So you got 10 boxes there, 1 working, 2 arrival departure, and then the other 7 are for the classification tracks. Panning to the left, that box of 3 right there is for south end of the yard industry. And that box of 3 right there will be for the granary and a working, so 2 tracks of the granary plus a working stack that'll be used both here and over here for the other part of the deep water terminal, the yet to be built pier with its 3 tracks. Here there was plenty to anchor in with this benchwork, but here I added in a 2x2. So the 2x2s mounted to the bottom of the table there, and then the bill box is mounted in that sort of center of mass. off to the sides, out of the way. I know that's probably a weak point. Hopefully nobody's going to try to do any chin-ups on these things, but yeah, work in progress. All right, as usual, things are a little bit complicated. I try not to overcomplicate things or overthink them, but as I'm trying to figure out in staging and storage here on the back of Manchester, where I want to put the bill boxes, I've been thinking for a while I kind of wanted to extend this staging track, and I think I mentioned in a prior segment that it's only got 4 tracks and it's supposed to have 5, so I think I'm going to take this opportunity to, well, first, because I want to hang these bill boxes, I'm thinking on this end here, I need to take that whole thing and slide it down and remount it to the brackets there. So that should be pretty easy. While I've got it off the brackets, I'm going to go ahead and take it down and add the additional tracks. I don't have any more re-railers. Those are on back order, so I'll just leave that part blank, but I'll have to move the second track and the fourth and the third, the first track from us and the second track from us. I need to slide them back that way, and that'll give me room for a 5th track here with reasonable spacing. So I'm going to pull this down, do that, then remount this, shifting the whole shelf that way, leaving me room on this end of the wall here. I'm going to put the storage bracket or the storage box at the top, and then I have 2 3-bill boxes that'll go below it. Still have plenty of clearance for that last staging track there, as well as be able to get my fingers in there. I thought about mounting it on the edge of the shelf, but that just seemed too flimsy. And with the shelf there, trying to put the multiple boxes sort of in this area, I just feel like that shelf's going to be in my way. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll come back after I've done it. Okay, we're back. It took me about 45 minutes. I took that shelf down, moved the couple of tracks that were closest to me and made room for a 5th track. So that's good for storage. And I slid the whole shelf down that way. And then you can see at the end there, I just took a little piece of scrap plywood I had and screwed it onto the end as a bumper. So no accidents there, hopefully. And doing that made room for the bill boxes. So those 5 boxes are for the 5 storage tracks, so whatever cars are up there. Those 2 3 spots, that makes 6. Yes. 3 plus 3 is 6. Those are the bill boxes for the 6 staging tracks. So I think I've got that straight. And I think in the last clip I showed all the various ones out on the layout itself and what they were for. So that's the car cards down, the bill boxes down, and I've already built the Excel tool to generate demand at the industry level. So now I just need to fill out waybills to match that, run it. What I'm going to do is run it once and then manually just put the cars everywhere they go on the layout and kind of get set up. And then I'll run it again to set up the next op session. So that way there will be cars in place at the various industries all around to be picked up, and the new trains running onto the layout, and whatever will be staged in the yard will represent all the traffic to be delivered in the first op session. So I'm excited to get this far. It's been since about last August when I bought all the materials to expand beyond just the shelf layout that's here. And when it became all the rest of this, I'm gonna save that for the future and focus on, I think I'm ready to do some scenery and build some structures, and that'll all be after I finish setting up for operations. So for the next bit of fun, I've been cutting out and separating from its backing all these various labels, tracks, and then what the boxes are for. So as we talked about before, there's staging, tracks 1 through 6, storage, tracks 1 through 5. I've got the big labels in the layout room sort of on, so it's the grain elevator box, port, etc. So I've got the big labels on, and now, sorry, I'm panning a little fast there. Big labels are on, so now it's a matter of getting the labels for the individual tracks, which for all the locals, I'm going to go ahead and label in the box because the waybills and car cards will need to be put in a specific place. But in the yard, I wanted to allow for a little more flexibility than that. So here, I've got these train cards. So rather than say, you know, track 1 is going to be such and such, I'm leaving that up to the yard master. So I've got one of these in each of the boxes how I, as a yard master, would set it up, but you're not locked into doing it exactly this way. Also made some smaller versions of those same cards that were in the yard box that would go with the local, and it's got instructions basically of what the train is to do, and then I added some logos. So all 4 of these are the 4 locals that would actually originate in the yard, and they all have the Seaboard Airline logo there, along with its max train length and just the general directions on what the job is. These are the 4 that would originate in staging, and you can see I've got the Southern logo on that train and the CNO on that one, and then the 2 Seaboard trains that originate in staging as well. So now, you know, pardon the mess of the workbench, but what we're doing now is just cutting out the labels. This will be for the yard, you know, various other places around, and I still need to cut those labels out, remove them, and place them where they're going to go. So I'll be working on that over the next next day or 2, and I'll go ahead and wrap this video up here. On the next one, I will show the Excel tool that generates demand. I know I said that last time, but I didn't get to it this time. And I'll also be doing the waybills. As always, thanks for watching.